Do you experience knee pain when you're squatting or lunging? Maybe when you're walking or even running, going up steps, you just feel this pain in your knee when you squat down, when you lunge down, when you take a step, you just feel so much pain. Well, today I want to talk about what the culprit of that might be and some things that you can do to try to help prevent that knee pain. You might be experiencing this pain because of something called knee valgus. Now, all knee valgus is the inward caving of your knees as you're doing movements such as a squat or a lunge, or even as you run, your knees might be caving inward even just a little bit. So next time you're squatting or maybe you're doing a lunge, look in a mirror and notice, are my knees caving in a little bit when I squat? Now, there's different ranges this might be happening in. It might be so drastic where it's like, wow, I'm obviously caving in. But it might be very slight, very subtle, something that might not be super obvious unless you're looking for it. So it might look something like this. Very slight, but just enough to notice, oh, there is that inward caving of my knees. Now, there might be a couple of reasons why this knee valgus is occurring, why this inward caving of the knees is happening. But one of the most common reasons is a weak glute maximus and glute medius. So the largest part of your glute and the side butt, the side part of your glute. One of the main purposes of these muscles is to help externally rotate those hips. So if your knees are caving in, these muscles, the glute medius, the glute maximus, might not be strong enough in order to help externally rotate those hips and to keep your knees tracking over those toes. Maybe you're wondering why this even matters. Maybe you notice, yeah, so my knees are caving inward a little bit as I squat, but it's not that bad and I don't feel any pain, so who cares? Well, this really does matter because if you're experiencing faulty movement patterns in one part of the body, it very well can transfer over to other parts of the body. We have to remember that our whole body is interconnected. So if one thing isn't moving properly, it could very well cause other things to start moving incorrectly. So if this is you, if you're like, oh my goodness, yes, I see it, my knees are caving in as I squat and as I lunge, I want to show you some strengthening exercises that you can do for the glutes in order to help prevent that inward caving of the knees and to help straighten out those knees as you squat and lunge. All you're going to need for these exercises is a band. It can be a heavy band or a light band, whatever you feel comfortable with and whatever helps you to feel that activation of the glute muscles. The first exercise I'm going to show you is something called tube walking. Now, all you need to do is put a band above your knees, just like this. And all the exercise is walking to the side while focusing on squeezing this side butt, squeezing this glute medius with every step. So it's gonna look like this. Step to the side, squeeze that glute, squeeze that glute, squeeze that glute, and other side. Don't forget, squeeze the side butt as you're moving. Squeeze that glute, squeeze, squeeze. Just like that. The next exercise I'm going to show you is a banded glute bridge with hip abduction. So all that means is we're going to use a band as we do a glute bridge, and we're going to pulse our knees out when we get to the top of the glute bridge. And I'll show you what that looks like. Down on the ground, band above our knees. We're going to have our hands so they approximately reach our heels. We want our knees and our heels to track over each other. So we're going to come up, and as we come up, we want to pulse out on that band and then come down. Now the whole time you want to keep that tension in the band. So on the way down, on the way up, the whole time there's tension. But when we get to the top, we're going to specifically squeeze the glutes and pulse outwards. And I'll show you a couple more reps of what that looks like. come up, keep that tension, pulse out, and come down. Come up, squeeze the glutes, keep tension in the band, and pulse out. The final exercise I want to show you is a 45-degree angle banded hip extension. So the way we're going to start off this exercise is by putting a band above our knees, and we're going to bring our leg up to a 45-degree angle. Now, when this leg is in the air, we want to focus on squeezing that glute muscle, squeeze it really tight, and then come down. Come up to a 45-degree angle, squeeze that glute, and come down. And I'll show you what this looks like from the side as well. So, 45-degree angle, come up, squeeze the glute, and come down. Come up, squeeze the glute, and come down. Now you might notice as you're coming out to the side, you feel it a lot in this glute as well, in this side hip. And that is okay. You're gonna notice it in the other side because this side is working as a stabilizer muscle. This probably won't be a quick fix, and that is 100% okay. It might take weeks or even months of practicing these exercises before you really notice a change in your squat pattern, before you really notice your knees start to straighten out and really align over those toes as you squat down. Practice these movements between 3 and 5 times a week and do 15 to 20 reps of each exercise every time you practice them. And remember, if an exercise uses a single leg, make sure you're doing 15 to 20 reps on each side. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any further questions or comments, leave them in the comments box below.